Welcome back, Fiber Friends, to another episode of the Wool to Gold podcast. This week's episode is going to be a little bit different. I am not going to be doing a lot of spinning, at least not on camera. Obviously, off camera, I'm going to be spinning. But for you guys this week, we're going to be doing some crochet together, and we are also going to be doing some dyeing. So first things first, I'm going to catch you up on some things that I've been working on, some whips that I finished. So I finally made those two hats with that yarn from Hobie. I think I used 2 balls. I used a ball of udon for each of these, and there's leftovers. I need to dye one of them light pink, and then I'm going to give them to my sister so she can have one for her and a matching one for her friend. I think they're inspired by some TikTok influencer that I'm not familiar with because we're just on very different sides of social media, and that's okay. We're different people. But yeah, I'm going to dye it with Brazilwood, and I want to dye some more mohair and the remainder of the white Wensleydale that I have. I have like, I don't know, it might be 3 ounces. That sounds like a lot. It might only be 2 ounces of white Wensleydale locks left, and I'd really like them to be that Brazilwood pink. I just love that coral. It's fantastic. I just think it's a really fun color. It makes my brain go burr. I think it looks really fun with specifically like this turquoisey teal color that I am just obsessed with, notoriously. I have a lot of things in my closet that are that color, and I just think it's a good color. I like it. This is another hat that I made with some yarn scraps from the blanket, the DL blanket that I made. I am really happy with the way this hat came out, mostly because I think Pom Poms make everything better. I do really like the little orange rim that I added on it because I feel like it gives Jester vibes as a result. And then it ties in the orange. I wanted to make the entire pom-pom orange initially, but then I realized after doing like the edge that I did not have enough orange to do that with. This is all that I have left over. This is not a lot of yarn, and I am glad that I did not attempt to do entirely orange pom-poms because I think I would have ended up with 1 orange and 1 not, which would have been fine, but like, I don't know. I guess I could have gotten away with 1 orange and 1 white. That would have been fine. But I need to make more hats. Or I don't need to. Like, it's fine. But these are going to be for my sister. I'm also getting her a perfume sampler set. And I'll put the name of the sampler set actually on the screen. I think it's Teo or something like that. It's a really good bang for your buck set if you want to get somebody a nice perfume set for Christmas so that they can try a wide array of different scents to figure out what they like. I know a lot of people who like don't have an adult cologne or an adult perfume, and I really do recommend using those sample sets then to your advantage and figuring out which notes you like and maybe taking some notes on that so that next time you go to get a full bottle of an adult scent that you want, you at least vaguely know what you like and what you're looking for. Just my 2 cents. I'm also part of two white elephant like Christmas gift exchanges, one for my workplace and one for my just like my family. I know a lot of people feel like making homemade gifts for things like that is kind of a controversial move. Maybe it's because I'm confident in my ability to design something that people at least think is fun, right? So like maybe even if an adult got this and they weren't gonna wear it, which like, be more fun. Have a little whimsy in your life, right? But that's just my 2 cents. You could give this to a child and they would be super excited to wear this. Like, I don't know. I think this is rad. It's a little retro with the checkers, although I feel like checkers are coming back into style again. And I just, again, I feel like the the like shell edging I put on it just makes it all the better. And so I want to make another one of these hats. I don't know which white elephant this one is going to, but I want to make at least 2 more so that I have one for the other white elephant and then 1 more hat just in case I need an extra gift for somebody, or I don't know, somebody does something or gives me a gift that I find is very heartfelt and I want to return the favor. So these are my plans for that. Another reason that I'm doing these hats in the first place is that I'm trying to use up a lot of my like acrylic leftover scrap yarn that I don't want it to go to waste, and I'm not quite ready to donate it yet because I knew that I could get some good use out of it this time of year. Another reason that I use 100% acrylic for these types of things is because they're gifts, and then I don't really have to include like really rigorous how to wash instructions, and people always feel bad when they really like something like this. They really like a handmade gift, and then they like accidentally ruin it, people feel really bad. Like, I don't want to like put that pressure onto anybody, and so I use the 100% acrylic when I'm doing these gifts. And the reason that I find I personally get really a lot of fulfillment out of putting them in the white elephant gift rotation is also because, like, I don't know, I feel like it gives opportunity for somebody who really wants that to steal it. Last year when I did a like simple striped crochet hat with pom-poms on the end, very similar design, much blander colors, and people went feral for it. They stole it until it could not be stolen anymore, and that I don't know, that felt good. I was happy. So I at least have hopes that, like, if somebody gets it and they clearly, like, they're like, like, this is all right, like, I hope that somebody will steal it, somebody who really, really appreciates it. At least that's the plan. So these are the first colors I have picked out. I'm gonna do a base of this dark green because I clearly have the most of it. And then instead of doing the checkers one color, I'm going to go back and forth between this, like, tan and this pink, because I don't think I necessarily have enough of either of them, but I do think I have enough to do some semblance of the checkers. And then depending on how much yarn is left over, if I need another color to do the outline and to fill in the pom-pom, because I'm afraid I'm going to run into a similar issue where, like, with the orange, you know, I didn't have enough to do the entire pom-pom, I'll add in this darker brown. I don't know. I just think good way to use the scraps. I think I see it in my brain. I think it's gonna look cool. Trust the process. So this is the first one. I have already cast on the first row. I worked in the base chain already, and I am using this crochet hook. It is a 4.5, and I always forget the name of the brand. It's German, and I really like these hooks. Like, I saw a retro vintage set at New York Sheep and Wool this past year, and it was expensive too, but they were so pretty. They were pink. They were really cool. They were really retro. They were sparkly. I think they were from like the 90s, maybe a little bit earlier. And I really regret not buying them because they're just so cool. And I really love this hook. Like, I know it doesn't look super ergonomic, but for whatever reason, I'm really drawn to using them, and I don't know, I find my crochet works up really fast with them. These are the other colors that I'm going to use for the second hat. I haven't cast this one on yet, but I do think this is the one that I need to cast this on because I think this is the one that I want to bring with me to Wicked tonight. So I'm going to see Wicked with my mom, my sister, and my aunt and my cousin, and I want to bring some kind of project that's like easy to work on, and with all of the different colors in that one, I just think that's not a good idea. So I think this red is going to be the accent color, so I don't even need to bring the biggest skein, right? And then this is the other color I'm going to use. It's just this like neutral gray. I have slightly more of this than the pink and the tan, and I'm just really hoping that I have enough to do the checkers. When I did the checkers with the white, I didn't use as much as I expected to, and so I really am going in a little bit confident, and I'm playing yarn chicken with a lot of these, but I'm pretty confident too because I'm making the gauge a little bit smaller. I used I think it's a G, which I think is a 5mm for the initial hat, and although it's very cute and I love it and I'm definitely going to give it to somebody, it's not perfect. It's not as perfect as I would like it to be, or the gauge is not as tight as I would like it to be, so I'm sizing down even further for this hat, and I'm going to a 4mm, and you can see this hook is well loved. I've brought this a lot of places, and I got this hook secondhand at that craft thrift store that I love so much. And I think for that hat, I'm going to do the trim entirely in this red color, and then I'm going to do the pom-poms also entirely in this red color. If you're curious how I'm making the pom-poms, I do have these, I think they're clover. They are clover. The clover pom-pom makers, you do not need to get these. Like, you can make pom-poms with toilet paper rolls if you have leftover toilet paper rolls and lots of other things. So if you do not have the money to buy something else, if you too are just looking to make some inexpensive gifts, like all you have this holiday season is not funds, you have your time, and you're looking to really use, like, buy as few things as possible, obviously you do not need to buy these. However, I do really like them. I think people are really confused oftentimes about how to use them, but they're actually really easy to use. So this comes apart like this, And then you essentially, you take yarn. You know what? I'll show you. I'll show you with the red yarn. Just a little bit, not a ton, because I don't want to make a whole pom-pom right now, but I do want to show people. So you open it up like this, and then you literally just start at like one side of it, and you just start wrapping. And you want it to kind of try to be as even as possible so that you can load in and make a really like evenly fluffy pom-pom, right? You can even start to, if you took the center pole and the outer and you wrapped them really quickly at the same time, you could get this done very, very quickly. And you wrap it until it's literally all the way full. Like, I'm talking all of this space is like filled in with yarn. And then you close them and you lock it into place. And then you cut along this split, this line here. You get a separate strand of yarn and you wrap it around where you cut, that exact area where you cut, and you tie it off and you tie it off again so that it's knotted, right? And then at that point, you can release, you open these up, and you've got all this fluff, and you've got a little 2 strings coming down so that you can like attach it to something. I'll show you guys this process too when I like finish the hats. I don't know why I'm talking you through it, but I'm gonna do it. And then you pop this sucker open and it comes apart and you have a free pom-pom. And it's wonderful. And it's how I made the pom-poms on that hat that I just showed you guys that I immediately lost. These pom-poms. See? These are homemade pom-poms. Especially because if you go to the store, pom-poms can be expensive, or like hat accessory toppers and things like that can be kind of expensive if you buy them, especially like the faux fur, or like God forbid it's real fur. It gets expensive. Making your own pom-poms in all of those cases is going to be more inexpensive than buying them at the store. So I don't know. Yeah, this is how you make a homemade pom-pom. I think they come out really cute, and you can make them lots of different colors. Some people make pom-pom art. Like, I do think there are people who make pom-poms that can be considered art all by themselves. I've seen them on Instagram and on TikTok. There was that one creator. I'll try to link her up here and down below because she's so cool. She made this giant pom-pom. It was enormous. It was to fundraise for, I believe something that her disease that her dad suffers from, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken about that though. I'll try to put clarifying details on the screen. But she's really cool, and everybody should go follow her because she's just neat, and I think her pom-poms are really impressive. I don't have, I think, the patience or understanding of pom-poms quite yet to make pom-poms of her level, but maybe I'll get to that at some point. It's the next day. It's Tuesday. This is my Sunday, technically. I have to go to work tomorrow, but I finished both of these beanies, woven all the ends. This is the one that I'm gonna dye slightly pink, and this is all the fiber that I'm gonna dye pink, or coral, right, because we're gonna use the Brazilwood sapwood, and I'm gonna show you guys that process and how I do everything, and some little tips and tricks that I have picked up from different places in my research along the way, and just, you know, actually doing this at this point. Anyway, this is the mohair and the Wensleydale that we're going to be working with today, and we're going to be mordanting. Obviously, I have a lot more mohair than I do Wensleydale, but that's okay. And this is the specific extract / Brazilwood sapwood that I'm using. This is the logo for Forage color. And they also sell like naturally dyed fiber if you don't want to have to do the dyeing them yourself. However, they have recently started selling natural dyes themselves, and they're really great. I loved using this. So the actual instructions on the front say pinks and purples on all mordanted fiber. Use at 5 to 10% for medium to deep shades. Very pH sensitive, which is true. Will shift colors based on pH additives. If you want more like orangey coral pinks like the sapwood Brazilwood colors that I have been achieving, you're going to want your water to be a little bit more acidic. I tend to literally just throw a little bit of vinegar in there to up the acidity. And conversely, if you would like your colors to be a little bit more like blue-red, like purples kind of, then you are going to want it to be more basic. As always, our alum today is going to be, our mordant today is going to be potassium alum sulfate. This is the one that I use from TF Woodcraft. I'm buying a larger amount for myself for Christmas, so fear not, those of you who have been in specifically my like Instagram and TikTok comments. I am not expecting to be, like, I know this is not that much, and I know you can get a lot of this on the cheap, so it's on its way for Christmas. I am officially ordering myself my Christmas gifts for the year because it's December. But yeah, this is going to be our mordant for today. I'm going to mordant at 7% today, and I am going to factor in the fact that this is mostly acrylic. So this is only 20% wool. So I really want to mordant this just for the wool to take the, like, slight kiss of pink. Okay, so this hat is about 155 grams. 20% of its weight is about 31 grams. So with knowing that, right, there's about 31 grams of wool that we want to mordant and dye that is actually in this hat. And so to kind of account for that, I'm going to use about 2.5 grams of Brazilwood, so about 8% of the weight of the hat, and then 7% of the weight of the hat for the alum is about 2.2 grams of alum. I'm going to try to set my scale to its most sensitive setting and hope that this will help me get some more exact measurements. And I don't know, let's get started on this project. Once you have your Brazilwood extract measured out like this, it's recommended that before you start dissolving it and actually getting the color out of the extract, that you turn it into a paste first. I definitely agree with this advice. This comes from the fact that, like, this stuff is like cocoa, where it tends to resist taking on water initially. So to get the most out of your extract, to avoid having any, like, dry chunks that don't actually end up getting used for color and get kind of wasted, you're going to want to turn this into kind of a paste first with a little bit of water. I have our mordant pot warming up over here, and then while this is like mordanting the actual hat and everything is getting done there, we are going to start developing this color and extracting, because this guy, in order to get the best color possible, it's good to kind of like simmer it for a good 30 to 45 minutes before adding your fiber. And here's just a quick example of how hydrophobic the Brazilwood is. We are officially cooking. There it is. I am not letting it cook for very long. Again, I really just want it to lightly take the light wash. I might even take it out before the timer ends up turning the heat off. We're gonna see. But already, liking the way it's looking, I think it's going to get the pink I want. It's almost been a week. Did I take the progress videos that I meant to? Absolutely not. Of course not. However, I wanted to show you guys the results and, like, talk about it, because I do feel like I can do a good job of kind of summarizing what we did this week, what we learned. I want to show you guys all the dried results before I start completely blending it all up, because, oh, I have to show you guys some results. But first, we're going to do the crochet hats, right? Finished a crochet hat. This one looking really great. I have to weave in exactly one end, but otherwise these are done. This is going to be for my family white elephant, which is farther away than my work white elephant. I really need to get that other hat done. However, I did cast it on, and I'm like 3 or 4 rows in, so that's not too bad. While we had some big wins, we also had one loss, and it was this hat. When I was dyeing this, I just, like, was not watching it, and I was being really, full of myself, ballsy, some might say, in a way that I really should not have been, especially because I never dye acrylic fiber. Of course I, like, melted the acrylic fiber a little bit. It's really alright. Like, it's fine, but you can see some of the yarn is, like, permanently flat now, and then other parts are a little bit permanently skinny. And I say melt because acrylic fiber can't really be felted, but it can be melted because it is plastic. And I accomplished that. If you roll up the sides twice, you could still, like, wear it, but it gets kind of ridiculous. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make another one of these hats for my sister's friend, and I'm not gonna dye it, and I'm just gonna give these all to my sister and be like, you know what? You can do with these whatever you want. If somebody ends up wanting the pink hat, wonderful. If she takes the pink hat, fine. If at the end of the season she's like, do you want this back? I'll take it. I like to keep, I have a bag of, like, mistakes that I keep, because I think that some of them are just, like, good lessons and a good reminder of, like, where we come from and where we started in, like, different types of, like, fiber journeys. Next up, I want to talk about the Brazilwood dyeing, because I dyed a lot of things with that Brazilwood. So the first batch of Wensleydale and mohair that I dyed with the with the Brazilwood came out a little bit more. I did not make this acidic enough. I did not add enough vinegar to this. So this is the like very first batch that I dyed like a few weeks ago, right? We've seen this before. It's a little bit more coral. This is a little bit more like true red, and that's because this was a little bit more basic leaning, and that was my mistake. I really thought I added enough vinegar to the dye pot, and clearly I did not. I need to perfect that a little bit more. The mohair that I dyed, I actually like the color of the mohair a little bit more than the Wensleydale. Not that I think that Wensleydale is bad. Like, I'm definitely gonna still spin that up. I already have ideas for it. But I just like this a little bit more. It's closer to, like, the salmon coral color that I was actually trying to, like, shoot for, that I just like working with and I think is fun to work with. And I have a nice big sack of this. I was recently reflecting on just how much fiber I dyed recently, and it really like hit me because I kind of like pulled it all out, right? So we have these 2 bags of fiber that I dyed. This is more mohair, but we've seen this before, right? It's the orange and the Susuzome black. I have this big old bag of mohair, all the way down to, like, down here there's the mohair that I dyed with lac. That was, like, over the summer. And then I have started processing, and I started dyeing some Gulf Coast native white wool as well, and I really like the results that we got on that one. So that's what we're going to talk about next, specifically because I'm already turning it into bats, as you can see. So I dyed some yellow with the Osage orange. I did another, because the Brazilwood just kept giving me more color, and so I corrected with some more vinegar for the Gulf Coast native, and as you can see, it turned out way closer to the color that I was originally shooting for. Like, this is perfection. Perfection. I love it. I think this color is just superb, and I think it looks really beautiful with, like, the Osage orange yellow. And then I did, obviously, a little bit more logwood. We have these, like, it's almost blue, so what I tried to do with this batch is I steep the logwood like I did before, but then I saw online that you can shift logwood to be a bit more like navy blue if you add cream of tartar. So that's what I went in with, because I have a thing of cream of tartar for dyeing, and I was like wondering why I had it around, and it was definitely to try to get some blues from the logwood without having to mess with indigo yet. That being said, I might have some indigo on the way to me from Forage Fiber Dyes. You know, I love their stuff. But yeah, we have these dyed bags here of fiber, and I've already started turning some of them into bats. So I have on my drum carder down here where you can't, it's out of sight right now, but I'll show you guys in a second. There is some pink on there already, but I have this like mostly yellow bat that I added some of the coral to, but then I also added some sari silk in like kind of like a lighter pink, but still kind of like a salmony color. I don't want to put that too close to the drum carder. And then I also did this bat that I'm also just going to be keeping for myself because I wanted like stripes of each color so that I could kind of pick and choose how I wanted to spin these. I'm really excited to spin this up. I need to get to spinning after this, but also I really want to process as much of this fiber as I can while I'm like in the mood to process fiber, because I'm not always in the mood to make bats, but right now I have been. So in addition to these bats that are already done and the one that's on here, I also was messing around with some of the leftover Columbia wool that I have from fossil fiber. So I took the orange and I mixed it with eucalyptus crimp, which I feel like you can see, and then the sparkle is some of the yellow UV reactive fiber that I got from Four Hearts Mainly Fiber. Yeah, so this crazy bright stuff here I added to this, and then I also added like a kiss of blue Firestar as well to just give it, I don't know, a little bit of dimension. I did kind of a similar-ish bat with this one where I did the green and a little bit of, I think I had a little bit of like blue left over of the Columbia, and I blended those together to get this nice teal, and then I added some teal sari silk that I have like a bunch of. I have like 2.5 ounces of it, so I just have been wanting to add it to stuff. And y'all know me, I love teal. I think teal is such a great color. And it's predicted to be the color of 2026. So clearly you can come to me for forecasting because I know what's up. That's a joke. Please don't take that too seriously. But yeah, I added some eucalyptus crimp to this, and I don't know, I like the way this one came out as well. And then I did a similar one with the browns and maroons that I had left over, and I think the teal, and I used copper eucalyptus crimp in this one, just look really nice. I don't really know if I'm going to put these in a fiber drop or I'm going to spin them myself. I'm very tempted to spin them myself, but I can't spin everything myself. I can't keep it all. I have to tell myself that. I can't keep all the fiber. And then as far as what's on the drum carder right now, just a reminder, if you're new here and you're like, oh my gosh, I wonder what kind of drum carder Brian has. It's a classic carder. I really love the classic carders. I like the brand. I love these drum carders. I do really like, I don't have any sort of sponsorship with them or anything like that. I spent 100% of my own money on this. I actually saved up for this drum carder for like a year and a half. I just think it's very well worth it. It's a really good drum carder, and each of them are handmade and signed on the bottom by the maker, and they're just beautiful, and they're a really well thought out piece of machinery, and I just think they're worth the price. So this is what we're putting on it. We have this coral fiber that you've seen already, and then I am going to be adding more of the 4 Hearts Mainly Fiber reactive fiber, blacklight reactive fiber. This is Firestar. It's super soft. It's Firestar top. I've never felt Firestar this soft before. Maybe that's on me. But this stuff is really nice, and this one is pink instead of yellow. And then I'm also going to be adding more of this really fun teal sari silk that I really like. So the inspiration is, have you guys heard of those zombie salmon? I guess it's like a normal thing where like after salmon breed, they like die. But they don't, some of them don't die like immediately. Some of them like, they turn into, I guess what they're called is zombie salmon. They don't taste good. I also learned this fact recently. And although this is not the color that the zombie salmon are, because the zombie salmon start to like turn a very funky color, I just think a like salmon corally color with these like bits kind of represents the sentiment, the energy of the zombie salmon. Maybe I'm alone on this. I love making bats that are inspired by like natural phenomena and like freaky stuff. As promised, the last thing I'm going to show you today, this whip. This is about as far as I've gotten. Technically, I am on row 5. I have officially started row 5. Do I have a stitch marker in this? Of course not, because I like to live on the edge. But yeah, this is about as far as we've gotten on this. However, I expect to finish this by the end of the week. Like, I think I'll have it done in time for my Secret Santa for work, which is technically next week. Like, that's not a lot of time to get it done, but it's a pretty small project, so I have confidence in myself. That being said, fiber friends, that is all for now, just to keep this video shorter, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. As always, my socials are going to be down below, and I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Happy making, and happy crafting.